Welcome to the Norris Group Real Estate Podcast, a show committed to bringing you insights from thought leaders shaping the real estate industry. In each episode, we'll dive into conversations with industry experts and local insiders, all aimed at helping you thrive in an ever-changing real estate market, continuing the legacy that Bruce Norris created, sharing valuable knowledge, and empowering you on your real estate journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a newcomer, this is your go-to source for insider tips, market trends, and success strategies. Here's your host, Craig Evans.
Hey everybody, we have got a longtime guest and a friend of the show, Kaaren Hall. Kaaren is the founder and CEO of uDirect IRA Services, LLC, a leading provider of self-directed IRA accounts since 2009. With over 2 decades of experience in real estate, mortgage lending, and property management, Kaaren has empowered thousands of people to take control of their retirement funds and invest in alternative assets such as real estate, private lending, precious metals, and more. Her expertise in self-directed retirement accounts has made her a sought-after speaker, and she's been a featured panelist and presenter at industry-leading conferences, including BiggerPockets BPCON22, 23, and 24. Also the founder of OCREIA, where she fosters a vibrant community of real estate investors through education and networking since 2012. Adding to her accolades, if the list isn't long enough, Kaaren is now the author of the newly published Self-Directed IRA Investing, a BiggerPockets Guide, the definitive source for investors looking to unlock the power of self-directed IRAs to build wealth. This book is published by BiggerPockets Publishing. This comprehensive guide combines actionable insights, real-world examples, and Karen's extensive industry knowledge to help investors confidently navigate the world of self-directed retirement accounts. Beyond her professional achievements, Karen's entrepreneurial journey has enabled her to support meaningful charitable giving and inspire others to take control of their financial futures. She also serves on the board of directors for the Council on Aging Southern California, as well as the board for RITA, the Retirement Industry Trust Association, where she continues to advocate for transparency and education in the retirement industry. All right, Kaaren, we need a break just after that. That is a list of accolades on your behalf. So it is great to have you. It's good to see you. It's been 4 months, back in October since I saw you last.
I think so. You guys did a great job at I Survived Real Estate. What awesome questions. Great panel.
So, but before we get into uDirect, because I want to talk about what you do and uDirect, I want to talk about your book, but I want to give people, one of the things I always try to do is give people a chance to know who you are a little. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
I've heard and know that you were a radio announcer in Seattle. So first of all, is Seattle where you're originally from?
No, I was born in California, and moved around a bit, and then ended up in Seattle. I was promoted from a radio station that I was working at in Phoenix at the time, and promoted to Seattle. And I worked, I did middays, and after Jimmy Kimmel did the morning show, and then I came on after that. And so I was in Seattle for a few years, and really loved it. What a great town.
All right. So I got to ask, how in the heck did you land a job in radio? Was that a career path that you thought you were like, was this your goal or?
Yeah, it was. I was in college, and I got into first journalism, print journalism, and then it kind of led into broadcast journalism. And then they called me the voice in college. So I was on the radio. I did a lot of radio commercials, locally, just at the campus station, but then locally, and then ended up having a 17-year career as a broadcaster.
Wow. Everybody that really knows me knows that I'm a complete goofball. I hope you'll work with me on this. I want to put you on the spot a second.
Okay.
Can you do a radio intro for our podcast?
You want me to?
Yeah, let's do something. Throw something out there for me.
Oh God. Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's see. The Norris Group Radio Real Estate Show. It's an award-winning show hosted by Craig Evans. and you will understand real estate when you listen to the program. We'll cover regulation, legislation, and economics, and investor trades, and really no nonsense education. So you'll learn what's really happening in real estate investing today.
That's awesome. That's great. That's so much fun. All right, now I've done my silly stuff because I'm just, as I say, I'm a goofball, right? So what was your first job in the real estate industry? How did you get from what was it, and how did you get from radio to real estate?
Yeah, I like to say I made the logical transition from radio to real estate. Because how do we all get into it? A lot of us don't start there, right? It's you decide, well, I decided I wanted to make some money. Radio wasn't a high paying industry, broadcasting, unless of course you're the star.
Right.
And I did a lot of good things, but that was not, I didn't become a star. So I got into real estate, and let's see, how did I do this? I started managing an apartment building. That's how I did it. I started managing an apartment building. I made friends with someone, and she worked for a big property management group. She says, hey, manage this little building for us. So I managed a 10-unit building, and it's like, oh, she does this pretty well. So then a bigger building and a bigger building. And so that was very educational, having to evict people. We had someone die in a unit, and with the eviction, I went to court, but collecting rents, taking care of the property, while I was also a radio announcer in Seattle. And then I got a real estate license, and for 1 year drove people around in my car. and I, and I learned that job's kind of someone for somebody else, God bless them. That's a different job, not that I didn't really, take to. So, but then I was engaged, and we moved around. I was a trailing spouse for a while, and I got into mortgage loan servicing. And that put me in the mortgage track, which I loved. It was so interesting. I mean, you get a little beat up as a loan officer. Eventually, I was started in servicing, and I was a loan officer, but learned so much about the lending business and what you could, this when you look at loans, you look at them all day, and you can tell, how do people get wealthy? What do their 1040s look like, and how do they do it? And so it really taught me how I could build my wealth.
Right.
And so it was huge education. And then, fast forward lots of years, in what was it, 2007, or around the time that there was the, we had that great recession. You remember that?
I think everybody that was breathing remembers that.
Yeah, and so living in Orange County, all the radios in LA, I wasn't going to do radio, wasn't going to do real estate living in Orange County. So I lucked into the self-directed IRA space and interviewed with a company. They hired me, and they said, open our office here. So I did that, and I did really well. In fact, after 2 years, I opened my own company, and this is it, uDirect IRA Services. And we've just taken off. We have over $1 billion.
Wow.
We have over $1.2 billion in assets under management. So yeah, so it's gone really, really well, go 15, 16 years later. And here we are, just really helping a lot of people build their retirement.
That's fantastic. When did you become familiar with Bruce, the Norris Group, this whole process? When did you learn about us?
I think it's right when I opened uDirect, 2009. Amanda Hahn, if you don't know her, yep. You know her. She's a wonderful CPA. She and her husband, Matt McFarland. So Matt and Amanda and I each started our separate companies in the same executive suite. And Amanda just called Bruce and called Aaron, and we started working with them. And it just was just a love match. How many events did we do together? I couldn't even count. I Survived Real Estate. We did that, the financial tactics brunch annually, and just so many different events. And we really became a trio, that our three companies of doing events together.
So it's interesting, you mentioned Aaron, and you actually had talked to me this past year at I Survived about Aaron and a lot of the impact that he had on your life and your business. Tell our listeners some of that. You don't have to get every detail, but I would love for our listeners to hear how those are the unsung things that most people don't ever know about Aaron.
Well, everybody who knows Aaron knows that he'd give you the shirt off his back. He was never too busy. You call him, he always had time. And he acted like you were the only friend he knew. He just always felt so special. And I thought I was the only one. And everyone tells his way about Aaron. It's so great. But Aaron did something especially amazing that was so helpful to me starting off this company. And we were at the Mission Inn in Riverside. And we did one of our financial tactics brunches there. It was so fun. And we were on the big stage there and so historic. And well, he would always want to broadcast those live. So it got on video. And Aaron in 2011 got it, chopped up into a video and got YouTube to accept it. Now, YouTube wasn't broadcasting videos that were that long. I think it's like 40 minutes long. And it's still out there. We have something like 66,000 hits on that video.
Wow.
But it was one of the things that put me on the map, put uDirect on the map, and helped us, gave us a name and gave us more of a national presence. We're a national presence now. We have account holders in every state, but it was because Aaron, he took his own time editing that video, negotiating with YouTube without even telling me. I mean, like, what a giver, yeah. Man. And I'm so grateful, so eternally grateful to him. And then when he said he was sick, well, that was quite a blow. But we just love him. He's someone who will never go away. He's always with me.
Legacy is important to me. I mean, it's literally in the name of my companies. Everything we do is about trying to create legacy. You've always been a great supporter of the Norris Group, but also, probably because of the friendship that you and Aaron had, things like that. But
yeah,
you've always been, started looking back. You've always been a really big supporter of our event, I Survived Real Estate, as well. Tell us, why is that important to you to give back? I'm sure you give back in a lot of other ways, but why is that one facet important to you?
Wow. Well, first off, I want to support anything the Norris Group does, and when I could afford it, I went from a gold sponsor to a platinum sponsor, just out of the gratitude for all that the Norris Group has done for uDirect. And it's really, Aaron, it's Aaron's legacy as well. And of course, Bruce, as well. But it's such a wonderful event. I think there's just nothing like it locally. It's, in Orange County, or it's in Riverside County, I suppose. And it's like a homecoming of everyone in the local Southern California real estate investment world. And then you can see people, normally these real estate investors, they're all looking at properties all day and they're wearing their grubby clothes, but it's when you could see somebody like, I don't know, Bill Tan in a tuxedo,
right.
or just so many great people. And so it's a homecoming is what it is. And I just love that event. It's wonderful to see everybody and support, of course, Make-A-Wish and all the various charities that the Norris Group has supported over the years. Raising over $1 million. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So listen, we read your list of accolades, and it's never ending stuff. And that's awesome to see. Right. Because, I've kind of as a side note, we've talked a lot about, in industry, we even talked about it at I Survived this past year, about being able to pivot, right? And it's clear that you have pivoted through your career at different points to, whether it was for sheer desire, whether it was necessity, whatever it was, you pivoted and into a pocket that now you found, like, this is it, right? So, but one of the things, and with all the stuff that you do, I find this one interesting. You've got the Orange County Real Estate Investment Association. When did you decide that was going to be the brainchild and the really good idea?
Well, I was approached by National RIA, and they said, "Hey, we want you to open an Orange County real estate investment group." And I said, "No." And then they came back again. "No, really, really do it." I said, "No." And then they invited me to the event that they have, the national event, and it happened to be in Bellevue that year, Bellevue, Washington. Beautiful city, love it. And I was there sitting in the back, and it was toward the end, and they said, "Oh, and we'd like to announce our newest chapter leader, Kaaren Hall." I hadn't even said yes. I was like voluntold, it's like, all right, I'll do it, And I'm so grateful that I did. I'm super grateful to National RIA, and I formed OCREIA. I didn't think I'd have time because my kids were still in school at the time, and my attention was divided enough. but I brought them in on it, and they would work the registration table. And so it gave them that experience too. So I brought the kids in and just started bringing in local real estate investors. It's great to see that some of the people like White Feather, who also sponsors I Survived Real Estate, the Rushings. And when they were first, new real estate investors, having them speak. In fact, Buddy was deployed and Kimberly was there at an event when the Orange County Register showed up and interviewed Kimberly. And she was a feature story about being, a military wife, and her husband was deployed and what she was doing. And of course, Kimberly is so brilliant that she just was talking all about her real estate investing, just experiences. And it was a wonderful article. So it was great to see those people and where they are now, because that was 2012. So that's been a hot minute, right?
Yep. And yeah, Buddy and Kimberly have done a great job. We do a lot with them now, and their financial freedom events that they put on several times a year. Super excited for them. But as I was looking and reading through your bio and everything that you do, right, I thought to my wife and everything that she does in our family, and I had to sit there and think, how in the world does Kaaren balance everything between uDirect, OCREIA, speaking, her own investments, everything that she does, and I wanted to get into that and ask that a little bit, talk about that, because I want, especially for the young investors, to hear, hey, listen, here's how you can do this and still have a balance, right? It doesn't have to own you.
No, that's true. That's true. It's just, you find your balance. I mean, you make your balance and you make things work and you divide time, because if I was going to do this all fresh, I think I'd flip out a little bit trying to get organized. But it's been like adding little things one at a time until it just flows, And of course, at uDirect IRA Services, I have staff, and they handle the majority of working with our customers and helping people. And so then a couple of years ago, I hired an operations manager who handles a lot of the day-to-day things. But it's just, you just make time. I don't know how it all happens, but it does. I'm sure your wife feels the same way. Like, you weren't asked for how she does it. You don't think about it. You just wake up and do it.
So when does your club meet? When does OCREIA meet? Is it live? Is it on Zoom? What's the layout of that now?
Yeah, for years and years we were live. We've always met at the Avenue of the Arts Hotel in Costa Mesa, California, until COVID. So March of 2020 was our last meeting, but we did bring Bruce back in January of this year, of 2025. But we're on Zoom again until we can find another speaker of Bruce's ilk, somebody who draws a big crowd. But it's so wonderful to meet in person. And when we did in January, it was wonderful because, again, it was a bit of a reunion, people coming, even we're driving down from Los Angeles, driving up from San Diego to Orange County, to hear Bruce speak, and again, a bit of a reunion. So we're hybrid now between Zoom and between the Avenue of the Arts Hotel. So just if you go to our website, which is OCREIA.com, you'll see whether we're live or on Zoom. Either way, we're live always, but whether we're in person or on Zoom.
Right. Now I want to get into the meat and potatoes of who Kaaren Hall is now, right? Let's talk about what you do. And I want to get into uDirect IRA, and I want to hear about the services, right? So give me, what do you guys do?
Right. What do we do? We help people. We're a service company and we help people. So there's this enormous need to have retirement money, to save for your retirement. I mean, can you even underestimate it? Imagine just all of a sudden the faucet of your income just stops and now you're retired, and so you're not earning money. What are you living on? And to really think about that reality, like, hey, there's no employment, so what am I living on? And kind of start with that thought in your head. And so when I thought about that for myself, I thought, well, what is that going to be? So they're like layers. One layer is maybe Social Security, but still around. We'll see. Another layer would be retirement accounts. Would be whether they're self-directed or it could be your employer account. Maybe you've got IRAs, and they're crucial, but it's another layer. Another layer may be annuities or life insurance, or if you've got a defined benefit plan, which is another kind of retirement account. Maybe it's your real estate portfolio, but you've got to start building multiple streams of income for your retirement. And so self-directed IRAs are a huge piece of that puzzle, because you don't just want to rely on one thing. And when you do, we've seen in our lifetimes that we think, oh, this, too big to fail, right?
Right.
And then it fails.
Yeah.
So you need to, right, diversify. So with the self-directed IRA, you can have some IRAs in the market, where they're stock market based, and the market has always gone up. Maybe not every stock has gone up, but the market itself has always increased. And so there's a good case for being invested in the market, but you want to diversify. And so what our account holders do, what we help them do, is to take their retirement where it is, move it into a self-directed IRA, and then maybe invest. Well, the number one asset class is syndications. So someone like yourself gets a Reg A, Reg B, C, D offering, puts that together, raises capital to build buildings. Maybe you're going to build multifamily. Maybe you're going to buy a portfolio of single family. Maybe it could be a lot of different things. You could have a syndication for mobile home parks and store multiple, multi-units, storage units too, all different kinds of assets. So if you're an accredited investor, you can use a self-directed IRA, and you can get into these kinds of assets that normally only the uber rich used to only be able to get into.
Yep.
Syndications, give you that ability. So just starting with the basis that it's incredibly important to save for retirement, self-directed IRAs help you do that through alternative assets. And it's very rewarding to see our account holders, build, and have enough so that they can retire. And it's a huge service that we offer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like different types of self-directed, is that correct? I mean, because like you even just mentioned, like, okay, let's say somebody wants to invest in a syndication, right? You were just talking about syndications. Is that a different type versus somebody that wants to invest in precious metals or in gems, or are there different scenarios and IRAs that help in those avenues?
Right. Well, a self-directed IRA lets you invest across the gamut of assets. Now, precious gems, by the way, are not considered, allowable into a self-directed IRA. It's considered a collectible. So I'll throw that out there. But
okay.
So it's not. So the kinds of IRAs they're not categorized by the asset class. They're categorized as really by their tax treatment. So it's traditional is a number one kind of IRA, traditional IRA, where you can contribute this year $7,000 if you're under 50, $8,000 if you're 50 plus per year, and build. Or you can take your old employer plan, move it into a traditional IRA. So there's a traditional, a Roth, where the proceeds, if you follow the rules, come out tax-free. That's really the brass ring.
Right.
If you're self-employed, there's something called a SEP IRA, a simplified employee pension. There's a simple IRA. And so, we all know that if the government calls something simple, it isn't. It's a savings incentive match plan for employers. Okay. So it's an acronym. But the SEP really replaced the simple because it's got so many more bells and whistles, higher contribution limits. So traditional Roth, SEP, simple. If you're working, or say your spouse is working and you're not, you can have a spousal IRA, which is really just like a traditional or Roth, but you can still contribute to it even without an earned income. And then there's the inherited IRA. Okay, so someone who named you a beneficiary passes, you inherit their IRA. Now you can still invest and still self-direct with that. And there are lots of rules about inherited IRAs, which we probably don't want to get into today. I take continuing ed, and that's a full 8-hour day of nothing but the inheritance, because they're all, if the moon is full on a Tuesday, then you do this. I mean, lots of specifics. So
really?
Inherited IRA, yeah, you really want to dig into that. But so it's the IRA class, but really one of the super accounts in self-directed IRA world is the solo 401k. So for people who are self-employed, have no full-time employees in any of the companies they own, right? They can have this solo 401k, which has got a huge contribution limit up to $70,000. You could make part of the contributions Roth. You could even take a plan loan from a 401k, which you can't from an IRA. You can actually personally borrow money. You have to pay the account back, but you could take a personal loan from that account of the lesser of $50,000 or 50% of the account value. So the solo 401k is really kind of a favorite in the self-directed IRA world. So it's really the account type. And then when you've got the account types, now what can those account types invest in? And those are alternative assets. So the IRS said that you can invest in anything except life insurance contracts and collectibles. So it leaves it wide open, but precious gems are collectible. So
yeah. That's interesting on the solo 401k, because even for young investors now, that means they could start putting money and pouring that into avenues that really help protect them.
Right, and get a tax break too. That's the other thing. I mean, when you have a self-directed IRA, or when you're an investor at all, you really need to work with a good tax person and having a good attorney who is looking at your contracts. But your good tax person needs to be working. You need to work closely with them about your contributions and about your investing, so that first off, your tax person can give you those tax deductions.
It's through these processes of understanding the different counts, things like that. How does uDirect help investors navigate these channels? You know, what do you guys do in that process?
Well, I mean, we don't grow up learning about self-directed IRAs at all, right? And most people don't understand them. So there's just a lot of misunderstanding. Like, I have this real estate property. People will say, can I put my real estate house I already own, my rental, into my IRA? No, you can only contribute cash. So you have to build an IRA large enough to, if you want to own a house, you have to have enough money in the IRA, or you can partner with somebody to put a house in an IRA, or you could even take on a non-recourse loan to invest. But your IRA does not invest in assets you already own. So there are rules that you need to follow and prohibited transactions you need to avoid. So the average person isn't expert at that, but we are. So we'll ask people. We offer a 20-minute free consultation. Tell us about your deal, and also tell us about your retirement account. Where is it now? Do you have a traditional or Roth, so that it gets into and like a new account with the very same tax treatment? That's important. So there are a lot of questions and a lot of sorting out about what you can and can't do. So we walk people through that.
Can you have debt service inside an IRA?
Yes, you can. It's a special kind of loan. I believe the Norris Group offers this. It's called a non-recourse loan. And so the IRA, is an account, but it's like a commercial loan. And, well, this, but an IRA can take on this debt. And when it does, the IRA is going to be paying a tax on any proceeds earned because of leverage. So if you borrow, say, 30%, then 30% of the proceeds you receive from that deal are taxable. It's called UDFI, Unrelated Debt Financed Income Tax. And if you want to read about it, it's IRS.gov, publication 590, right? And there are a lot of rule book people listening to this program. And that's one of the rule books is IRS.gov, that website. So publication 598 talks about UDFI and also UBIT tax.
Well, and those are things I want our people to hear, is because I think so many times, especially if you're young investors or young, professionals in any venue, there are any avenues, so to speak, that they're looking at, I don't have enough money to put into an IRA. I can't do anything. I want them to start understanding that there's a lot to this world, and having that professional in your corner is what makes it different.
Okay, everyone, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Norris Group Real Estate Podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for part 2 of our interview with Kaaren Hall, CEO of uDirect IRA Services.
For more information on hard money loans, trust deed investing, and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For more information on passive investing through the DBL Capital Real Estate Investment Fund, please visit dblcapital.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under the California DRE license 01219911, Florida Mortgage Lender license 1577, and NMLS license 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com and click the hard money tab.